Hey everybody, it is Blastin or Stashin. It's Huey McGee, and we got Pocan Joe Dibs on Spider Grandpa's books, and live from the Princess Anne Hospital, we got Mike laid up in the bed, reeling from a spider bite. We're waiting for your spider powers to start tingling or something.
Oh, they're tingling.
Oh, they're tingling. We are Blastin or Stashin Comics. So what we do is we buy the books, we read them, and we talk about them on here. We blast the books we hate, we stash the books we like. But before we get rolling, let's talk about some housekeeping stuff. Where is it at? There it is. You can go over to Teespring, get the cool shirts, all them cool shirt stuff. And of course, this is a review show, so spoilers may be abound. And some of our viewers may find our following video disturbing, especially if Mike wants to wait for his sponge bath to happen. We're going to see if that's going to be a live thing tonight on the show. We'll see.
Maybe.
Can you ring for help and have a nurse come in?
I can.
No, let's not do that, though.
What are you scared? Do you want to be my nurse?
Your nurse wants to be live on YouTube. Did you get her consent?
I don't. Yeah, she's a fellow veteran. My nurse.
Ah. We got Double S in the chat already. He says, "Are you blasting this week?" Let's start with what else we've been doing. Mike, you're kind of in a different environment. You have a little bit different backdrop. What's going on with you?
I am laid up in the hospital. I was admitted this morning at around 9 a.m. I have a pretty bad infection going on my leg, which they started to slice it up and drain it and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm here, hopefully just overnight, maybe 2 nights. God, I hope not. But yeah. So
Double S wants to know: did the ass goblin go too far?
Did the ass goblin? Yes, it did.
Ass goblin.
Went just a little bit too far. What else have you been doing? Have you been watching anything or playing any games? Anything new?
Not really. What's that Matthew McConaughey movie? With he's a treasure hunter.
Sierra.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Sahara.
With Kate Hudson.
Yeah.
No. That's the one where she's filing for divorce from him.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, that is, and they're on the island. I forgot. I watched that fairly recently too. I forgot what that was called.
Yeah, well, it was on TV this afternoon here at Princess Anne Hospital, so I watched that.
Anything else?
No, fuck you.
The
first person who brings me a cheeseburger will get a Hulk 181 from Joey.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I watched the first episode of Mandalorian. I think I can watch episode 2 tonight.
Fuck, that's on.
And then I've been still watching Hellstrom. I'm on episode 6 or 7 on that. Any movies I've been watching lately?
What do you think of it so far of Hellstrom?
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty creepy in some parts.
Pretty creepy, right?
Yeah. Halloween, I ended up watching Rocky Horror Picture Show again. I haven't seen that in a while. I watched that on Halloween night and took my daughter trick-or-treating for a little bit, but not a whole lot. But and I got this cool Venom door knocker. I showed it to the guys in the off-air. Picked this up at Party City for $20. So
many treats, so little time. So glad you could join us.
So I picked this up. It's normally $50, and I saw it on sale for $20, and I'm like, dude, I'm buying that. So we got Jacko in here. We got Sleepy Reader. Thanks, guys, for something.
666.
I think that's all I've been doing this week. I've been listening to a few podcasts and stuff like that, listening to audiobooks. Busy at work, crazy busy at work. But other than that, everything's going good. How about you, Joe? What do you got going on?
I finally saw the first episode of The Mandarin. Obviously, I didn't watch it tonight.
Mandarin.
Kind of caught up on Hellstrom too. I'm enjoying both of those shows. Just awesomely epic shows. A lot of good stuff in there. Started my second From the Evil Lair project. We're doing the 10 Rings of the Mandarin, so hopefully we'll have that video done here that's the November project. What else have I been doing? I finally finished my 25th reading of the Odyssey, so now I'm going to move on to something else. I just don't know what yet. And then my regular comic book reading and, work when I have time. That's kind of like a secondary thing.
I forgot to mention too. So Rogue City Comics, one of the comic stores here locally, I went in there on Wednesday, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I got something to show you." So he brought me over. He bought. I mean, most people know that I collect Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane books. Trying to find him. He bought almost the whole run, including number 1.
Oh wow!
And it's the number 1's not in great shape, but it's within my wheelhouse of buying. So I think I'm going to be having me a Lois Lane number 1, and he's got the first appearance of the Silver Age Catwoman 2 number 70 in there as well. I'm probably going to end up getting that one, and I might end up working a deal out with him, maybe getting that most of the set that I need. So, but that's a pretty big book. See, what's he say? Double S says, "No, thank you, Blastin or Stashin Comics." I don't know what he's referencing there.
No, thank you, Blaster.
Oh,
that's the way you're supposed to read that.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
Mike, you want to tell everybody what your malfunction is? So, a couple people jumped in a little late, and they're like, they see you laying in a bed, looking all sad and lonely, double chinned.
Well, we went to Baltimore.
You got the hip.
This is what happens. No, I got a pretty bad skin infection going on my leg, and I need a little bit stronger antibiotics than what they could prescribe. So I'm hooked up to 2 IVs here. Been pumped full of medicine all day, and hopefully they got it under control. So.
This probably can't be any worse than you caught in the Navy, for sure. I mean, of course, maybe antibiotics. Your body's all used to all of them. And you can't do anything to work.
Oh yeah, they injected us with some shit in the military.
Okay, let's jump into this. For me, I was talking in off air, a huge freaking week of books. I mean, I had so many books. I mean, most time I'll have a few that I didn't read. Oh my God, I had that many that I didn't even read this week. So just a shit ton for me. A shit ton. That's an official Oregon term. Let's start with you, Joe. What do you got going on? What book you want to start with?
Let's start with that's a good question. Oh, let's go ahead and break this one out because it was actually my pick of the week, and I usually start blasting things right.
Are you using your Yeti mic?
No, he's using.
Oh, okay.
No, he's on his cell phone.
What?
You on your cell phone? I'm sorry, Joe. I said mic.
I have my Yeti. Do you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, but it sounds like your mic's way away from you.
Yeah, because it is.
Okay. Move on. Moving on.
I want to talk about this book, Crossover. Tell me you picked this up.
I did pick that up, yeah.
Oh my God, this is great. This is so great. It's like 3 stories into one, depending on what the reader decides to kind of pick up on in it. It's a commentary on comic books and people that love comic books. It's a commentary on us as a society. And it's also kind of a commentary on the whole crossover and big events and all that kind of stuff, all wrapped up into a normally would be a blandish story. But for the most part, this is actually good. Basically, what we do is we talk about what happens if superhero characters left the comic books and came into the real world, like where we're at right now. But they looked like comic books, especially the old school dotted type stuff. And it was really interesting because it would not be as great as we would think it is, right? So this happens in Colorado. They put a force field around Colorado for some reason because comic book words, I'm sure we'll find out later. But one comic book character escapes and everybody like hates the Supes now. It's kind of like this boys vibe to it, but they took it a religious route, which was really cool. where there's like this kind of like just crazy protesting religious group out there. Then there's a little side story with a dad and son. Comic book shop owner, it literally said the last real comic book shop on it. And the guy's kind of an old school collector. He's making fun of like certain comic books. Now, I don't know how the rights or the copyrights kind of worked out in this, but there is some very obvious Superman. There's very obvious Rawhide Kid. There's some very obvious characters in here that just slap you in the face. So maybe there's some kind of deal there. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is just, it's unique. I'll go ahead. It's the most unique comic book I have read in a while. I cannot predict this. There's no fancy MacGuffins, no superhero lingo. There's none of that in there. It doesn't even feel like a comic book. That's the funny thing about it. And it's about comic books. So yeah, just for the sheer fact of how surprised I was when I read this, this is my stash of the week right up off the bat. Crossover.
Blast.
Did you read it, Mike?
No, I'm blasting that review.
Oh, I gotcha. Midwest Scotsman's in here. She says, "Sup, fellas?" Sleepy Reader says, "I'm getting crossover FOMO."
Yeah, you're missing out. Sleepy Reader, he really needs to get this book and do a review on it because he would love this. He's one of those he's very intellectual. He does reviews for comic books on his show. He would eat this alive. He would love this.
I don't think I like it as much as you do, but I thought it was good. I mean, I'm always a good Donny Cates fan, so I'll definitely pick it up. What things I didn't understand, so everybody's afraid of the superheroes inside this bubble that are contained there, but yet these people are going to this comic book store and like big fans of it. It seems like there's something to be more afraid of. I mean, they're super afraid of this girl too that's crossed over out of that world. That seems kind of weird to me. It's like, if you're so afraid of it, why are you pushed towards the stories and stuff of it? I do like the fact that he's talking about what's real. Is Superman real? You know, he's more real than we. He causes a more social change or change in society than what we do, because once we live our lives and gone, we're kind of forgotten. These superheroes live on forever.
Much longer than we do.
An interesting concept, I thought. Mm-hmm. But overall, I thought this was pretty good, though. I definitely going to be picking up issue 2 on this. Double FO. I don't know what FOMO is.
Fear of missing out.
Oh. Got it. Okay. I feel so old right now because I didn't know what that meant. But I called somebody a Karen in the store. And my son's like, "You know what Karen is?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what a Karen is."
Who?
A Karen.
My wife's a Karen.
What's a Karen?
A Karen's a really snotty person.
Don't talk about my wife like that.
Okay.
I was standing in the line at the store, and there was like a whole bunch of people waiting in line, and she was just like very snotty to the checker. "Can you call a second checker up here?" And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, we usually call that "get your manager, lady."
Yeah. And I was like, "Man, take it easy, Karen."
You tell your wife that's not always possible. We get
I'm sure that this is a pretty high print run, so Sleepy Reader, I'm sure that you should be able to get your hands on a copy of this for sure. So I don't think it's going up in price or anything like that either. So but definitely, it's a stash for me, and I'll pick up issue 2. And I'm not sure if it's a miniseries or an ongoing, but I like the concept of it, and I'm definitely going to be stashing it for sure. Where else were you saying there, Mike?
Stash. I stashed your review.
He stashed my review, but blasted yours, so I take
He's
that.
reviewing the reviewers tonight because he wasn't able to pick up comic books.
I did read what's it called? It came out a couple weeks ago. Necromorphous.
Necromancer?
No, Necromorphous.
I don't even know that.
I think it came out last week.
Yeah, that was pretty decent. I did read some older books in hopes to review tonight. like Brave and the or Batman and the Outsiders. There's a really cool katana. I don't know the number because I don't have the book. Katana story in there where there's no word bubbles, but it's all a football broadcast. So like the quarterback is running down the middle of the field, blah 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 blah, and Katana's like running down the street with her sword. It's pretty cool how the two the football broadcast and Katana's mission interact. So that was pretty cool. I do have the menu here at good old Princess Anne Hospital. If anybody wants to know what we're having for breakfast.
So Huey, what did you read this week?
Let's talk about Web of Venom, Empire's End. Did you pick up this one, Joe?
Yes.
So this essentially, the whole story, this is if aliens were in the Marvel Universe. Essentially, that's the whole thing. I have that cover as well. So we have the ship at the beginning. You know, they're going out to a distress call. They're going out, and there are these pods that have been shipped out. And they're flying out there and catching the pods and bringing them in. They open one of the pod, and it's a symbiote. And they end up attacking everybody on the ship. And it just really screamed alien or aliens to me. So the whole ship gets consumed. The what's his name? I think he's the same character that's in Captain Marvel. Is it? What's his name? The Skrull.
The commander guy.
Yeah, it's
Carl. It doesn't matter.
Whatever
name doesn't matter.
I think it's the same Skrull that was in the Captain Marvel, that same character. But so the whole ship ends up getting taken over by symbiotes, and including big symbiote bat-looking things, which are kind of cool. They kind of consume the whole ship and cover the whole ship. But this main Skrull ends up getting out of there, and then this is him telling the story of what had happened and how the ship got taken over. And then, of course, at the end of the book, spoilers, there's Null coming in to attack them and bringing all the symbiotes with them. But if you like aliens, if you like Marvel, this is the perfect blend of the two, I think. So this is a stash for me, even though it was freaking $5 though, but it's a stash. It was a fun read for sure. What about you, Joe? What do you think of Empire's End?
This is a hard stash for me, and I almost didn't pick it up, right? Because I thought I was done with Empire. Remember, I read Empire. I'll read bad comic books. I'll read bad epic stories. And I read Empire, and I thought that entire thing at first started off kind of cool, and then it got all weird, and then it just got lame, and then it just got boring. But I followed it all the way through, and then I was like, oh, jeez, another Empire story.
Holy pasta. What?
Yeah.
God, I got to get out of here tomorrow.
So if you don't remember, in Empire, the Kree and the Skrull are kind of like teamed up, and like Hulkling's like their emperor now, and they went to the war with the Coyotes, the plant type people, and it was a disaster story, and it was horrible. And then we had the Watcher kind of come back, and then they kind of predicted this thing was going to happen, and they kind of left a big cliffhanger. That's what comic books do. Well, now we know what the cliffhanger was. The Skrull commander that is kind of in this story, he was the one that was kind of shamed in Empire. I don't know if he was in Captain Marvel. I haven't been reading Captain Marvel, but he was kind of shamed because they tried to do an uprising against Hulkling. Hulkling didn't kill him because that's what warriors want. So he kind of stuck him on this kind of bullshit Space Odyssey mission that turned into aliens. So now you're all caught up. Bullshit story into good story. Now we have an alien story. And the reason why I think the number one thing that makes it feel like an alien story is there's just that constant dread that's happening in this. Aliens, when you watch it, it was just very dreadful. It was dark. You knew the thing had no emotion, no feelings, no anything, right? It just wanted to eat. And that's kind of the feeling you get when you read this, is that there's this constant dread around every corner. And it was just beautifully done. At first, I was like, this art's kind of lame. But then as you get into the story and you're reading the story, it just kind of fits. I can't explain it, but it just made sense at that point. And boy, when the scene with Null on the symbiote dragon, like a skeleton riding through hell, was a beautiful splash page in it. Also seeing himself. So now we know that they've been jumping from planet to planet. He's building his army. He's not coming slick. He is here. Good stuff. Good read. And just all around good. Jacko says Marvel owns Aliens and Predator now. I am actually looking forward to the line-wide event. I think it would be really cool if you did want to introduce those characters. I think, Null's taking over planets right now. It would almost kind of fit as that being kind of the introduction now to help launch that forward a little bit. I thought that would be really smooth if they did that. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, that is Talos. Talos from Captain Marvel, same character.
Okay, Talos, that's him. Yeah,
I'd look it up. Okay, I'm gonna talk about a book. I'm almost 152%. I can't go 53% that you didn't pick up, Joe. And that is, and I'm almost positive Mike can pick this up because I'm gonna be made fun of here for picking it up. Even it's by Action Labs. It's called Sasquatch in Love. Did anybody else read Sasquatch in Love?
Haha, you're absolutely right. I need to grab a beer anyway. Go ahead.
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
I almost did order that, so I'm not making fun of you tonight. I'm turning over a new leaf just for tonight.
So those drugs really must be working in that hospital.
I wish I had some better ones.
So in this story here, of course, where Sasquatch is known to live, the Pacific Northwest. And guess where I am? Oregon. So we're a part of the Pacific Northwest. So Sasquatch lives in the wood, and he's got a human friend that he goes and plays Scrabble with all the time. They hang out all the time. Scrabble. Did you just whisper Scrabble?
Scrabble.
Okay. So, and then there's this professor and his assistant that come into town. They're trying to find Sasquatch. And so the professor dresses up as a female Sasquatch, hoping to lure him out. But the Sasquatch sees his assistant and falls in love with her. And he's totally like, dude, how can I meet this girl? How can I meet this girl? So he's getting his human friend to try to help get this girl. And so he writes this big poem for her and all this stuff. It was pretty lame, honestly. It was just kind of a cool pickup just because, like I said, it has to do with Oregon and Pacific Northwest, and so that's why I picked it up. But we're going to find out maybe in the next issue that the Sasquatch get the girl, or does he have to shave in order to, get, what was that movie that came out in the late 80s, early 90s? Jim Carrey, Jeff Goldblum. They're from aliens from out. Huh?
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Earth Girls Are Easy. So maybe he might have to pull one of those and shave himself completely in order to get the girl. I'm not sure if girls like hairy men from the Pacific Northwest or not. But
aren't you married?
I'm married, yeah, but
yeah, apparently they do.
No. Some girls do. Need that. How much was this?
It's a front.
It's a front?
Your marriage is a front.
What?
I don't know what you're saying.
Actually married to that exorcist guy.
Oh, is that what it is? So unless you really, really like Sasquatch, unless you really like things about Pacific Northwest, I would just pass on it. It's just kind of a fun, cartoony thing, but pick it up at $1, Ben, if you want to read it. That's what I'm saying.
He's also the guy that read My Little Pony: Friendship is Love.
Oh, which episode or issue 4 came out this week, but I didn't get a chance to read it. So
Transformers and My Little Pony. I'm sorry.
I wonder what the suicide rate is at this hospital.
Transformers. Yeah, I think here in Oregon they do assisted suicides.
Really?
Not where you are.
Sounds like I got a job career.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Joe. What do you got?
Okay, so we're going to talk about these two together because it's the same storyline. Boom. We got what do we got here? Yeah, the X of Swords. We got the X-Men, as Sword Marauders, and X-Men. All right. So this is my next big event that I've decided to stay dedicated to. Maybe not every time, but the majority of them. One's good, one's bad. Anybody want to take a guess which one's good?
What was the second book? You got X-Men, and what was the other one?
X-Men and Marauders.
I'm saying X-Men's probably better than Marauders.
Okay, see, yeah. You know why? Because it has a cool cover, right? Like that X-Men, that's a pretty cool cover, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you get the whole backstory of Genesis in this. Who's Genesis? That's Apocalypse's wife from back in the day.
Phil
They advertise
Collins.
it as an origin story. It's not, because we don't really know anything. We just know that she's been to war for a very long time. A halfway person that could read could have figured that out. Marauders, on the other hand, this was fun. Wasn't very action packed, but it was fun. So our two categories of champions, right? The people from the other world, and then our X-Men characters. The White Witch wants everybody to have a dinner. And I was like, well, that's kind of BS. But then I got to thinking, I was like, actually, that's historically accurate to some degree. Before the Olympics, before major battles, having dinner, generals having dinners and stuff like that was a very common thing. So I was like, okay, I'll buy into it. I'll keep reading. So I kept reading through it, and it was really funny how our X people, we'll call them, were kind of sizing up the enemy. Remember, they're a person short compared to the other ones, right? They have all 10. Our X-Men only have 9. And they're kind of sizing them up, and Magic and Gorgon. Love me some Gorgon. They're kind of like testing out this one person. They're like, which side do you think she favors? What's her strong side? What's her weak side? So they like throw 2 glasses at her. The trick is which one you catch is obviously your strong hand, your better high-end type. This person not only catches both of them, but swirls them around, takes a shot with each of them, and then throws them back at them. And they were like, Gargano was like, well, sometimes, you just got to find a warrior in the group. But we learned a lot of the this was an attitude story, and I really liked it. You kind of saw everybody's attitude in this. The most interesting thing was the cover here. There was a whole Little Mermaid kiss the girl moment, which was hilarious. Death has kind of a thing for Storm, and Storm's not shying from him. And they did this whole thing where they danced underwater and got really close to kissing. And it was really kind of cheesy and awkward. And it reminded me of Little Mermaid. Normally, I would make fun of this kind of thing, but it actually kind of fit into the story. And Storm's reasoning behind it made even more sense. It was like, oh, that's actually makes sense. So as silly as it was still a fun read. It was much better than the X-Men storyline. But for the most part, not a lot of action in it, just a lot of banter and wittiness. Oh, and spoiler alert, Logan decides he wants to end all this because he doesn't like the idea of the kids getting into this life and death battle and never doing things like getting married or anything like that. His conscience kind of shows out a little bit. So he's like, well, the only person that's making us do this is the White Witch. So, yeah, I'm going to stab her. So he does. And while that's going on, our reincarnated war, if you will, character decides to spike Logan's drink. So exciting stuff going on here, but it's more drama than it is action and things like that.
Mike, do you have anything to add?
Good thing I'm in a bed. That put me to sleep.
Let's talk about. Did you pick up this one, the latest from Eric Powell, La Diabla?
I did. I ordered it.
I don't think so.
No. So Eric Powell writes and does the art in this. Well, I think because he's with this goon, he does Hillbilly, or he did. I think he's past Hillbilly and goon off to other people now. But I think when he does his own stories, his own art and story writing, they're great books. I thought this was an awesome book. It's a prelude into Lords of Misery, which is coming out, which has Goon and Frankie and La Diabla, as well as a couple other characters. So this is her essentially backstory in this. So what it is that's going through Mexico. There's these four guys who kidnap this girl. She's crying, and she's like a little girl. And they start saying, "Hey, she needs to be quiet, or it's gonna La Diabla is gonna come attack us." They're like, oh, it's a wives' tale. And then the four guys end up going to the story of the creation of her. She was in her quinceañera. Yeah, okay, that word. And she gets attacked. Her family gets attacked, and her dad's like a super loving guy. He dies. Everybody dies except for her, and she's going back to get revenge. No, that's not how I heard it. This guy said this is how it happened. Her dad was an abusive asshole that wanted to kill people and didn't like how she got married. He ended up killing her lover, the guy she was going to marry. And no, that's not how it happened. This is how it happened. So they all going through the whole full stories of her origin, and then all of a sudden she just comes barreling through with her freaking hot rod through into bailing and killing all the guys in there and saving the girl and sending her home. And so, but they never really reveal who she is, other than she's just this total badass, and she lives up to the legend. And at the end, she's given a picture of what looks like a Native American or Hispanic lady, and she's saying, "Where did you get this?" And the guy says, "Come with me. We got some stuff to do." So this is definitely a stash. So I got cover A and cover B on that. So this is the cardstock cover. This is the Eric Powell cover. It's a beautiful cover. I love this thing. I think if Rob Zombie needed an artist for his stuff, this would be a good guy, definitely for his stuff. So, and this is actually a shout out to Jamie at Rogue City Comics. She was wanting to know what I thought of it. So this is a total stash for me. I'm looking forward to how it's going to tie into Lords of Misery later on. So Comic Book Steve wants to know, oh my God, what the fuck happened to Mike? So give him an update.
So Mike said sit down, and Mike said, no, I'm going to stand up. So she made him sit down.
Yes.
He's finally got the insurance to cover that penis reduction he needed.
Dave,
mm-hmm.
You're not funny.
You got something on your nose there, Mike. What is that? Is that a boogie?
Probably. I'm gonna leave it there too.
He's not even gonna check either.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Tell your story again.
Once again, last Halloween, the night of the demons and the night of my daughter abandoning me for Florida, I got home and I was really sick. I thought it was a fever. It's actually 101.1, which isn't considered a fever. Who knew? But I was shaking. I don't even remember the drive home. Blah, blah, blah. I had like an ingrown hair on my upper leg, and I had my wife look at it, and she's like, yeah, it's probably really infected, and that's what's making you feel bad. Flash forward to today, that little ingrown hair has turned into a pretty bad infection going down my leg.
It turned into MRSA.
Yeah, MRSA.
Fight to get MRSA from an ingrown hair.
If you don't know what MRSA is, go Google that shit. It's pretty nasty.
Hey, Google.
Cheese in your thigh.
What?
According to Wikipedia, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus refers
you have a coccus?
to gram-positive bacteria distinct from other strains of Staphylococcus aureus. MRSA is responsible for several difficult-to-treat infections in humans.
There we go. That was Google's answer.
Now that you know the definition, go look at a picture.
Yeah.
I don't need to look at a picture of your caucus.
All right. But for the most part, it's really pretty much all cleared up. They're just worried about it spreading to other regions. I got some antibiotics flowing through me right now, and I'm here. So I've been out of work for like more than a week, and it's driving me crazy.
Take it. Take the leg. Take it. It's going to spread to other areas. Take it. Your nurse coming in for a sponge bath?
What are you doing?
Is your nurse in there?
One of them is.
Oh. Does she want to say hi or he?
No.
No, let the nurse do her work. What'd you read this week, Huey?
Oh, I just went over La Diabla, so it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. Did you get U.S. Agent?
I did get US Agent, yes.
Did you read it?
I did read it, but I'm glad you're talking about it first because I forgot a lot about it.
Okay. So this was weird. First off, we have a buddy cop story is basically what's going on here. We have U.S. Agent, and he's got like this Chinese delivery guy, and apparently they're going to go fight crime together because Chinese guy doesn't like his job and everything's racist. The story is weird. All right. Obviously, there's a hard slant in this. Everybody, or I don't know how to say this without being rude. If you're white, you're a redneck in this. You're a redneck and you're kind of slow. Ta-da. Right up off the bat. There was some funny stuff that happened in it. There's some witty banter that goes between U.S. Agent and this particular Chinese delivery guy. I keep calling him Chinese delivery guy because we have not gotten his name yet. Like literally. Everything takes place in West Virginia where a shield front was exploded. And U.S. Agent is going to go solve the case. This Chinese guy kind of just met with him under unfortunate circumstances of, something like strange. What was that show from the Stranger Cousins? Or
that sounds like it's a show from West Virginia. Stranger Cousins.
Show like Stranger Cousins. It had like the guy from before. Anyway, it's kind of like that kind of situation. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, it was in the 80s and whatever.
You're talking about with Balky, right? Yeah. Perfect Strangers?
Was it Perfect Strangers?
With Balky came from, yeah.
Was it
whatever? They were cousins.
Something, I don't know.
Whatever.
Anyway, so it's weird, and then we end with apparently U.S. Agent's childhood trauma, female storyline, being an agent, pink hair, the whole 9 yards for whatever. Perfect Strangers. Okay, it was Perfect Strangers. Yeah, it's kind of like that situation with the Chinese guy and U.S. Agent. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's obviously heavily slanted, but I am going to follow it because I got a feeling that this was just, they're setting up a story. It's the first issue. I don't think that they're trying to like make fun of anybody or anything like that. So, and you got to be careful these days because some people do. But I like U.S. Agent. I've always liked U.S. Agent. I always thought he was a cool character. Let's see what he does here. And he's literally called a sea leaguer in here, which was great. And apparently he doesn't get the good shield either. They kind of made fun of that as well. A lot of humor in this, a lot of funniness. But the most important thing is it actually has action in it. So that was great too. So yeah, this is a 50-50 for me.
Yeah, this was a book that I read last night, like the last ones I read. So it was kind of like, I was just kind of like in and out of it. Wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to it. So it didn't really keep my interest very much. Mikey there? What are you doing?
He's getting his, nurse is taking care of him. Leave him alone.
He's getting his caucus taken care of.
He's getting his caucus taken care of.
And I wonder if his nurse can hear everything we're saying right now, even though he may be muted, but we may not be. So I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what, his sister at the end, the pink-haired lady, I'm not sure if you would remember her, but I'm sure Mike would. There was a comic book YouTuber named Mercy. Maybe some other people out there might remember her as well. She actually looks a lot like her. She dyed her hair like that, and she looked like that. So I was like, oh, well, that looks like Mercy from YouTube. So anybody remembers Mercy? I don't even know if she's still doing videos anymore. But I don't know. That's what she kind of reminded me of. But overall, I don't think I'll pick up any more of this. I wasn't super interested in really much of it. I mean, it's kind of funny. He has all the pizza dudes down in the basement trying to figure out
who's bringing the bomb. Right? Yeah. Who's bringing the bomb?
So that was kind of funny. But overall, Yeah, Comic Book of Steve, Mercy's little show. Yep, he's right. She's on Instagram. Okay, I'll have to check her out on Instagram. But I haven't seen her do a video on YouTube for quite some time. That definitely looks like her. I mean, Comic Book of Steve's been around for a good while too on YouTube, so I'm glad he remembered her as well.
Good deal.
Let's go on to do 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 do. I didn't read that one. I gotta open up and take a peek at it again because I don't remember a whole lot about it. Wolverine, Black, White, and Red.
Oh, that was good. 4 great little stories in it. Yeah.
So it actually had 3 different stories in here, and the whole thing is it's black, white, and red. That's all it's inked in. You know, some of it was for me hard to. It was really hard for me to read on what was going on visually because of those limited colors. I don't know. I mean, it has some great art, great splash pages right there. That's pretty damn awesome. But it was very, very busy, and I think with the lack of colors, it kind of was hard to differentiate between a little bit what was going on. But it has some great stories in here. I love the one where he gets it captured by, I think it's the Russian mob, and they're questioning, is it Russian? You're like,
It's Hydra.
is he what?
It's Hydra.
Is it Hydra? I thought it was like, I guess he kind of reminded me of Zangief from Street Fighter.
Yeah, I can see that. So, just so you know, all the stories kind of play off of other comic book lore. It's kind of like an in between the panel type story. So, you saw the first one with the Weapon X thing.
Yeah.
This is when Wolverine and Nick Fury were battling Hydra in the Eastern Europe and all that area, and yeah.
But the whole end of the story there, when he has the bomb actually inside of him, because he kept playing about, well, he played you, no, we played him, no, we played you. Very, very much back and forth kind of stuff. That was probably my favorite story of the 3. But that first one probably had the best art of it, I think, when he's Weapon X and fighting the beast and stuff, and they're testing his abilities and trying to see what could beat him, and they're actually trying to kill him.
And we've got kind of a surprise appearance in there too.
Of
the character he fought was
that Sabretooth?
No, it's not Sabretooth.
Oh, was it? Who was it?
Think Alpha Flight.
Oh, Sasquatch?
I thought his name was Wendigo. Oh, yeah, Sasquatch. No.
Wendigo. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wendigo. Okay. Yeah. He kind of looked like Sabretooth a little bit. Kind of looked like.
Yeah, that's the art styling in it, but we know it was Wendigo because of what he said at the end.
Yeah. Okay. But that first story would definitely have the best art in it by far. But overall, this is Stash. I mean, because I do like it how they have different artists and like you said, the interpretations of what happened in between those stories, and I think it's great stuff. So I'll definitely be picking up issue 2 on this. I think it's only a miniseries too. What'd you think of Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood?
So of course I had to get that 1 in 25 cover.
Oh, of course you would.
I love it. We had a couple of other covers there. I don't know what it is about the 1 in 25s lately with me, but they're like legitimately, I like them more. And I'm not normally a cover chaser, but I figured 1 in 25, he usually cuts me a deal on it. So go ahead and pick it up. So the X-Men has launched a couple of times now. I remember the last big launch where they had like 52 different covers for it, and it was ridiculous, and it just turned into a story at best. This is really kind of cleaned that up, and I really like what they're doing here with this whole, hey, there was this thing that happened to Wolverine, but over expansive time, there was a lot of things that had to happen, and I really like that. That's smart writing, because you don't have to totally tell the entire story. You let a lot of the art kind of give you the time frame that you're dealing with. You don't need a lot of narrative. You can jump right into your dialogue. You can jump right into your action, and you can even interpret it in different ways, like what Huey did. It would have made sense if it was a Russian story too, no doubt about that. I like this. This is smartly written. It's beautiful. The first story, we definitely get a little homage to Wendinga, or yeah, we get an homage. And if you read this and you were wondering why is this dude talking like this when he says "Pourquoi tu me fais ça?" That's French for "How could you do this to me?" So that was pretty cool too.
We.
Oui, oui.
Brazil.
Yeah, I don't know. I like this whole noir feel to it, and that's the only way to really describe it. If you liked Sin City or The Spirit, where they kind of did play heavy on red and a lot of the black to kind of keep that noir feeling to it, that's what you're definitely getting that in here. So it definitely does kind of. I could see where some people have a problem with it. I generally enjoy that. Because sometimes I think too much color can kind of muddle the art in it, and that definitely doesn't happen in here. To me, it seemed very cleanly drawn, very cleanly done, and I enjoyed it. So definitely a stash for me, and I would recommend this probably more than the last #1 Wolverine with his hot claws and all that other bullshit. This is just classic storytelling.
Which that other Wolverine storyline kind of went downhill quite a bit. I think as soon as it started tying into that that Swords of X thing, it kind of really petered off for me. I like the vampire stuff they were doing in that other Wolverine.
Yeah, the vampire stuff was okay. The hot claw thing was kind of. I got tired of that.
No, not that run. Not that one. The other
then I jumped out. Then I jumped in, and then the whole. By the time I came back into it, it was kind of sort of the vampire storyline a little bit with Dracula, because I was kind of reading another issue that was kind of dealing with that too. Avengers was dealing with that. And then I kind of got out of that for a little bit because Empire came on and I had to ditch all the money for that. So, ugh.
I was going to tag Mercy, and I followed her on Instagram, and I'm going to tag her in that post saying, "Hey, when is she getting the comic books?" You want to talk about something new? What do you want to talk about, Joe?
Did you bring that one up, or did I?
I brought that one up because remember I screwed up the Wendigo or the Sasquatch thing.
Oh yeah. Double S wants to know that Wolverine was a stash for him, and that's because he has good taste in comic books. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Thor. Tell me you picked up Thor.
I picked up Thor. Yep.
Did you pick up this beautiful one in 25?
I don't pick up the one. I'm not rich like you, Joe. I don't pick that stuff up.
So
I just pick up multiple copies.
I don't pick up multiple copies either. No, I don't pick up multiple copies of titles anymore. Very rarely. And honestly, I was actually going to get one of the higher or one of the lower issued runs, but some guy beat me to it. This is like stupidly interesting. So for some that may know or some that may not, there was a period of time when we were told the Thor story that he actually had an alter ego, and his name was Donald Blake, Dr. Donald Blake. And Thor carried a cane with him, which they gave homage to in the last Thor movie. And he would slam this kind of. One time it was an umbrella, at one time it was a cane. It was different things or different times throughout the Silver and Copper Age. And he would say Thor, and he'd turn into Thor and go be a hero, a weird hero, but nevertheless a hero. But it never addressed where Dr. Blake went in those story runs. Never talked about it. We just assumed he just transformed. Well, come to find out, we kind of retconned a little bit of a story here because Dr. Blake's got to go somewhere. He's not Thor. We need to make that distinction. So in this storyline, we find out that Odin actually made this world, and basically it was a suburban, blissful place where he could walk normally, but he had no concept of time. So he could walk like throughout the neighborhoods or whatever, and it could be days, years, whatever. He would never notice the difference. Well, there's a little bit of a problem with this. What happens when Odin dies? His magic dies as well. So with the death of Odin, apparently Dr. Blake has been stuck in this suburban blissful place that turned into a nightmare to him because the concept of time started hitting him. Now, for some of you that may not be up on your Viking mythology, because that's mainstream talk, there is a heavy reference in here to the whole serpent and the sun, and they're kind of playing to that in here. They kind of foreshadowed it because they're really the same thing at the end of the story of the mythology of it. And they kind of play in that in here too with Dr. Blake and Thor. They're kind of the same mythology here. So Thor needs a break. He wants to bring the Doc back and wants to travel wherever he goes. So they switch places, right? So Dr. Blake's back. But what we find out is old boy went nuts. And we're not like talking cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. We're talking like slash and hack everybody in his little suburban nightmare hellscape that he changed it into. Literally killed the dragon, and apparently he's got a problem with Thor and everybody else. So he's like just madman, and he got sick fighting skills too because he had plenty of time to practice. And Thor is realizing this where he's at. So how does the old switcheroo happen back? What's going to happen next? That's going to be interesting. I get it. You fall in and out of comic books. Boop, 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 right? If you've fallen out of Thor because you didn't like the whole winter death thing, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you didn't, that's fine. Go pick up this issue because if this is going to be kind of cool. I think this is going to be fun. We're going to see what I like the most, what I call the Odyssey story. We're going to see an average man that has to defeat gods, but we're going to see it from a villain's point of view because I'm pretty sure he's not going to be the hero of the story, and that's good storytelling. So definitely, I would recommend this as Stash.
And now I didn't pick up the 1 in 25, but I did pick up the Fortnite variant.
Why would you?
I don't know. I got to double check and see what the hell
I'm ordering. Like you don't want to be my friend. It's like you try hard.
I'm trying to impress my wife and my daughter by picking up some stuff up, thinking, "Hey, I'm cool. I like Fortnite." Yeah, I thought it was interesting because in the old books, Blake was just an alter ego, just like Captain America, and
he wasn't even a brilliant surgeon or anything like that.
No.
Just a general family doctor.
But I like how they've turned that story and made it like he goes to this other place, and let's really focus on what happens when he's Thor. What happens to Donald Blake, and I thought that was really interesting, and I really like that. And in a part where Thor's been kind of lately with the whole Thanos thing and stuff like that, where he's not really wanting to admit what he sees in the future, but this is all weighing on him. And he's like, I just want to be done. I don't want to be king for a day. I don't want to be anything. I want to go back and just have a normal day and let, be Donald Blake or whatever again, that was really interesting. And I thought that was great storytelling, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. And hopefully Thor will be able to get back out. So, 1 in a million variants. How much do 1 in a million variants cost? Are they $2 million?
The most highest rated variant I actually have a 1 in 5,000.
Is that the highest variant ratio there is?
I'm not sure. It's the one I got. I picked that up at C2E2, and it was for that dark red vampire storyline.
Oh, yeah.
I got it signed by the artist and everything, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness, I'm yawning here. We're almost an hour in.
Are you that bored? Am I that bored? Do I need to liven this show up?
I'm tired. It's been a long week at work, man. I've been doing a lot of physical labor work, dropping big trees and digging trenches to replace water lines. It's just been...
You were World War II? You digging trenches?
Digging trenches, yeah. We at the park I work at, we had a few major water leaks in the main water system. We having to dig them out and fix them, and then dropping big old pine trees, 30-inch pine trees.
Pine trees suck too because of all that. They're always constantly sappy and wet when you cut into them. Oh.
It's fun, dude. I love dropping trees. That's get me a big old chainsaw and just start cutting down. That's fun shit.
Well, everybody needs a hobby.
What's that?
I said everybody needs a hobby, I guess.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about.
Go ahead and talk about it. You know, I've been saving for you to talk about Batman. I purposely have not picked up a DC thing yet, so you could talk about Batman.
No, I don't want to talk about Batman.
I thought you wanted to talk about Batman.
I don't, because everybody knows Batman.
But
let's talk about this here. By Heavy Metal, this is Savage Circus #1. So this is a magazine size. Of course, it's Heavy Metal. So the one thing I will praise, magazine size, full comic. I don't think there are any ads in here at all. And it's $2.99. $2.99.
Well, Heavy Metal, yeah. Heavy Metal's always been pretty good about their prices.
The other Heavy Metal I got, I didn't get a chance to read, and that is Darkwing. Let's see, is that $2.99 as well? Yeah, $2.99. Same thing. You know, same size, magazine size, no ads. I'll give him props for that.
He doesn't even know how much his comic books cost. He doesn't even have a budget.
Who are you talking about?
Well, they're just loaded.
What are you talking about? No budget?
Huh?
Somebody saying something about a budget?
What?
Oh, never mind. This conversation is going way off track now. So in this story here, we got a guy who is in. It starts out he is in Vietnam. He ends up getting attacked by a monster, and he ends up hurting the monster, almost like a big kind of like essentially maybe Vietnam's version of Sasquatch. But this one, he's not in love for sure. He ends up wounding him, and kind of like, you know, wait a minute, he was going to kill him, but then he saw like the fear in the monster's eyes, and he ended up capturing him. And essentially, I guess, bringing him back to health. And he's like, you know what? I captured this guy. I'm gonna capture more of these creatures. I'm gonna have my own circus. And that's all they really talk about at the very beginning of it. And it's him older. It looks very much like a Kurt Russell there, man. That's a very much Kurt Russell right there.
That is a Kurt Russell.
That is a Kurt Russell. And then it goes back to Pennsylvania, and there's this family, and there's a sheriff, and then there's this. They're trying to raise money to save the town, and so they're this big pig that people put money in, and it says what the total is. Like now, it's up under or over $800,000, and so this guy's planning on robbing this Piggly Wiggly, you know, stealing the pig and stealing the money, but somehow this Savage Circus is going to play into it towards the end, but it doesn't really have any connection of the Savage Circus other than him coming into town on the front drunk as hell, carrying a bottle, and somehow this circus is going to end up blocking the only way out of town for these Piggly Wiggly stealers, and it's supposed to combine stories somehow. And I'm just like, it never really picked up for me at all. You know, it never really grabbed my interest enough for me to want to pick up issue 2. I wanted to see more about the monsters that he captured versus the guy's planning on robbing that Piggly Wiggly. So it's a blast for me. Savage Circus, #1.
Well, that's okay. It's only $2.99.
It's only $2.99, so I don't feel so bad. If it was $3.99, I'd be blasting it all to hell.
Oh yeah, you'd be setting that shit on fire.
Fuck that place. Fuck that thing. You want to talk about Batman? Talk about Batman.
All right, let's talk about Batman. Hey, what do you do when you want to relaunch Batman as a, you know, poorer person, you know, a millionaire? Well, you got to give him a new villain. But what do you do with that villain? You retcon him back to his past. So, hey, remember when Bruce Wayne was traveling the world trying to find the best of the best so he could learn from them? Well, apparently he had somebody that also had the same idea. So what they would do is they would fight over to see who would be that person's student. That's what I got from that. That's Ghostmaker. You're welcome, America. Luckily for us, the story picked up very quickly after that really horrible intro to this character. And we find out that this guy's kind of sadistic. He's overly righteous. We'll go ahead and go with overly righteous in this one. because he's not like a zealot or anything like that. There's no faith base to him or anything like that. And he really hates Gotham. Like his narrative in the beginning, he makes it very clear that Gotham is just a cesspool that needs to be burned to the ground. We've heard this storyline before, I know, but this one actually makes it kind of cool. And apparently he's kind of got a hard, well, I don't want to say hard on, but he kind of wants Clown Hunter to go away. Now you remember Clown Hunter. First off, cool character, right? And Batman's trying to, not arrest the kid or anything like that because he's just a confused kid, much like Bruce Wayne was as a child, and he's just trying to steer him away from killing clowns. Well, Ghost Hunter's not hearing it, and he wants to drop that body. So him and Bruce Wayne are fighting it out, and we get a bunch of flashbacks from their past. I don't like the origin story of this particular character, but I do like this character, if you speed him up to date. I like the fact that somebody just wants to just be done with Gotham, because it really does sound like just an absolute shithole, and it needs to be burned. So I kind of agree with Ghostmaker there. But I also like Clown Hunter, who wants to protect his home and wants to kind of be the hero, but the anti-hero at the same time. And then we have Batman, who's kind of the in-between of both of these characters. So you get three different personalities all trying to fight each other out on top of a rooftop. I like that. I like the psychology of it, if anything else. 3 different levels, 3 different volumes. Let's see where this takes us and see who gets pushed over the edge. Well, that was smart. I was talking about them fighting on a roof. Did you get that? I was talking about
man, that was a nice little zinger there.
That was a nice one. I thought about that one. Oh, by the way, 1 in 25.
I know you got the 1 in 25. I got the lowly cover B on that.
What? Honestly, I love that color. I love that one more. But I've been collecting these kind of design covers.
Yeah.
I've been trying to add those, kind of make a collection of those, if you will.
Mm-hmm. I thought he kind of looked like Daredevil from the Netflix series with the mask. When they flash back to the past, I'm like, man, that's a total swipe off Daredevil.
Yeah.
You get the Irish guy that they're both fighting over. They both want to be his student because he's the best with knives. And I love his line is like, "Oh, I hate teenagers." When they start fighting over.
Funny.
I do like Clown Hunter is going to YouTube to figure out how to make a rocket launcher so he can blow Harley Quinn's apartment up.
I got curious about this. I don't know. I'll probably be arrested tomorrow. I actually wanted to go. I was like, I don't even know if that's possible. There's only one way to find out, right? Yes and no at the same time. You can learn how to make a rocket-powered something fly at lethal range on YouTube. And if you put 4 specific videos together, you can make an explosive rocket device because of YouTube.
I go to YouTube all the time. I get made fun of at work. I don't understand how something works. I'll go to YouTube and I'll figure it out and I'll fix it or whatever. Like, dude, you and your YouTube. And I said, well, man, it works.
Hey, man, if it works. 4 years. I need 10 minutes.
We got Harley Quinn negotiating with a new landlord, trying to get a new apartment, and she's going to pay double. And how does you feel about hyenas? So Clown Hunter really, Harley Quinn's a good guy or good girl now or whatever. She's more on the good side. She's like Catwoman a lot. She's not necessarily totally evil, but not necessarily totally good either. But I think anybody who resembles a clown or a Joker, something to do with Joker, Clown Hunter wants to kill her.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Clown Hunter is definitely going to be playing a bigger part moving forward. The only thing I wish, because now we have Mirror Man or the Mirror and Ghostmaker in this one. It would be kind of nice to spread out these newer villains. Kind of have one at that story flesh out, and then let's have a Ghostmaker.
Yeah, but they don't
very
do
similar.
that. They don't do that with Batman. They always do the rogue villain thing where more is better. Like the last storyline, which we all liked. The last 2 storylines were actually very good. Ever since King got off of it, we've liked the storyline so far. And the thing that makes Batman, I think, interesting is the fact that you can stick 4 or 5 extremely different villains against him, and Batman has to figure out, not only mentally but physically, and he kind of has to be. I don't know how to put it. I'll just put it this way. If it offends people, I'm sorry. He has to be the guy. Like, he has to be the completely rounded guy that you would expect a man to be. He has to be compassionate when it's time. He has to hold back when it's time. He has to be violent when it's time. Violence is a tool. He has to be smart. He has to be, or I guess the best way to put it is he has to preserve a philosophy of thought called the 4 Ps, right? He has to protect, preserve, prevent, and persuade. And he has to be able to do all 4 of those. At one point, there was many philosophers that made the argument that only a true man can do all 4 of those. And again, this was a long time ago. Obviously, things have changed and shifted, but it doesn't make it a very bad philosophy because it ultimately is a stoicism at the end of the day. I'm sorry, I went up. That just kind of out of left field. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna go into my lightning round. I'm trying to organize some books here real quick, trying to get them all fingered out. What I in my piles of what I read, what I didn't read. Batman Adventures continues number 6. It kind of, this is a different Batman universe, so it's not part of the same main continuity. But it kind of retcons Tim Drake. Tim Drake? No. Who's the one that got beat by Joker and killed?
Todd?
Jason Todd, thank you. So it kind of retcons Jason Todd a little bit to where Harley was there when Joker beat the crap out with a crowbar, and Batman was trying to save Joker from the blowing up building, but Jason Todd ends up dying. So it kind of retconned that a little bit.
What is going on with that storyline? Why is that so prevalent, like, right now? Like, have you noticed, like, even in Justice League, and not to interrupt, but this is kind of interesting. So far, we've been fed that storyline now from Justice League, from the Batman run, the 3 Jokers, and that Batman Adventures. Like, that's something that everybody's telling us we need to remember right now.
I don't know. Maybe Jason Todd's going to be more of a heavy hitter coming up. Who knows?
I don't know, but it just seems weird to me. It's like 4 different storylines now where that's being fed to us.
Deceased Dead Planet number 5. John Constantine gets the spear of I forgot what it was called. Destiny. So yeah, this is still pretty good. I'm enjoying this. This is a badass cover, Swamp Thing cover. I like that cover. Origins number 1 of 6 by Boom. Nah, not liking it too much. This is one of those ones I read kind of late at night too. It was kind of like tired, but it's about scanning baby bones in and creating a baby and creating humanity again. I don't know what the fuck. Fuck it.
Here's an easy
Year Zero, Volume 2, number 1. I really like the concept of the first volume, but this is just the same stuff with 4 new characters. So we never even wrapped up anything with the last 4 characters from the first volume. This is just 4 new characters and what they're doing moving forward. So I'm kind of like, man, I don't know. I want some closure to some of the other characters we had before. And maybe at the end of this volume, all 8 of these characters are going to combine somewhere or whatever,
combine into one mighty morphin.
One mighty morphin. No, Constantine does not play, or Keanu Reeves does not play Constantine, although I did watch that recently again. So that's what I did read. And what I didn't read was freaking massive. Hellblazer Rise and Fall number 2.
Well, I'm going to spoil that one for you.
You can spoil it all you want. Happy Hour from Ahoy Comics. Pantomime from Mad Cave. Red Atlas number 1 by, is it Aftershock? Yeah, by Aftershock. Darkwing, not Darkwing Duck.
Oh.
Let's Get Dangerous.
I love that. That was a great card.
Justice League 56. Batman Hush, Tales from the Dark Multiverse.
I did not get that because I was like, because it was a toss-up for me. I was like, do I want to read a Wolverine #1 relaunch again, or do I want to check out Hush Multiverse? And I'm kind of multiversed out. So I was I went with Wolverine. I'm happy.
Cold Dead Hands #1 by Source Point Press. And then Walking Dead Deluxe #2. Those are the books that I read this week, and I'm sticking to it. What else you got, Joe?
Those are the books you didn't read yet.
I read a few of those, but these are the ones I didn't read. Yeah, I read this. I've read Walking Dead #2 before. I'm just getting that for my run.
Let's blow through the ones I didn't care about. Amazing Spider-Man 51 LR. Don't need this story. It was absolutely worthless. Hey, Doctor Strange showed up and he's very angry at Black Cat. The Boys, Dear Becky. Hey, remember when The Boys had a bunch of violence and stuff in it? Well, this episode basically said, yeah, no, we want to talk about feelings. Because that's why we pick up The Boys. Not because everybody's a miserable cunt. And I'm only saying that because they drop that word in there all the time. It's not something as a matter of fact, okay, my wife didn't hear me, so we're good. Deceased Dead Planet. I'm still loving this. I've been following the storyline. I love John Constantine in this because it's old school John Constantine. I don't have to explain myself. If I did tell you what I had to do, you're not going to like it because sometimes you got to do bad things to make good things happen, unfortunately. And boy, does he do some bad things in this. Like, he has to kill friends. Like, that's rough. Justice League. So Nightwing, again, remember he got beat up by the Joker a long time ago and his head's all wonky. This was a horrible storyline, but there's an important piece of information, if you're following the storyline in Heavy Metal, that actually came out in here that will play a huge part later. Here's your spoiler. Perpetual's throne that had the Doom, League of Doom in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so they're chained up in the thing, and this was like AAA batteries for the throne, right? Well, they're freed. That's the important part in it. The rest of it's just pretty much garbage nonsense about invisible horses. It was a mess. And this is another stash for me. This is not your typical John Constantine. There is a scene in here, and once you get to it, you're like, okay, I don't want to read this anymore. But don't let it stop you. So there it is. There's the scene that everybody was like, what the hell's going on in this book? Okay, this didn't happen. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now that didn't happen. It is getting a little cheesy, though, but it's a great concept. They spoiled it. They should have let this linger a little longer. The kid that has the demon inside of him, they kind of let the cat out of the bag on that one and gave us the origin story of the demon, and it really kind of took away from the story because now every time you see the kid, it's not the kid doing sick and crazy stuff, right? You know it's the demon. And it was like, it just didn't have the same effect. Like, that should have happened later. So you keep thinking these little sadistic kids running around slicing people up because that was kind of a cool concept. Definitely made it more terrifying. The moment you throw, supernatural beings in it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's what demons do. They hate humanity. Humanity first. It kind of took away from it a little bit. The art in here is beautiful. The language is very colorful. There's that great John Constantine witty banter in here, but it just seems like something's lacking in here. And I don't know what it is yet, but I'll keep picking it up. For as far as the prestige books go, This one's been probably my favorite so far. And I read all my books, so I'm done.
I flipped through that book and I saw that page with Satan and John Constantine laying in the bed like naked. All I could think about was South Park, the movie, with Satan and Saddam Hussein. Come on, babe, I can show you my big dong.
Oh, you know I love you.
Okay.
So what do you got going on this week, bub?
What's that?
Anything you're looking at this week to pick up?
I have to look and see what's going on, but I definitely got to try to cut back on some of the doubles I'm picking up for sure. I'm like, it was just
the 1 in 25s and you'll be okay.
Nah, I don't buy the 1 in 25s. But yeah, I definitely got to try to make sure I'm cutting back, especially coming up on the holidays. I'm probably going to be picking up some more hours doing DoorDash stuff just to get a little extra cash. But I got to watch what I'm.
I think the best thing for you to do, dude, just go be Jewish. Like it's the best way to go.
Just to celebrate. Well, I thought about becoming a witness so that way I get to save on all of that. No holidays, don't spend any money at all.
And we don't give gifts to adults, so it's what it is.
Okay, well, hope Mike gets better, and then make sure you wish him the best on Facebook, on Twitter, all that stuff. Send a shout out to him.
Yeah, definitely send that out. Positive vibes, prayers. If that's your thing, definitely.
Let him know that I hope his caucus feels better here coming up soon, because I think that's why he ended up leaving, because his nurse was coming in to wash his cocks. So that's why he ended up leaving. I think he got
get out of his caucus.
Right in his caucus. Right in his caucus. So, yeah, make sure you go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that fun stuff. I was trying to find out where this was, but we're going to go ahead. We didn't do a Whiskey Dick episode or issue.
I was going to say Whiskey Dick earlier, but I was scared to with Mike. Obviously, he was on some painkillers or something tonight, so I did.
Mike,
before, just so the fans get it, just throw it up right now.
I will. That's for Mike and his Whiskey Dick in the hospital tonight. So enjoy the hospital room, Mike. Have some ice cream from Lieutenant Dan. And
thank everybody for swinging in tonight. We appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate it. So make sure you come by, check us out next Friday night as we talk about the books that come out for November. What date is that? Whatever, next Wednesday. Make sure you check us out then.
Really,
whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next week.